So I just wanted to do an update video. I'm up on the Blue Mountain Scenic Byway here in Eastern Oregon, 2015 GSA. I haven't really done much to the bike. Everything's been good. A couple things that I'll point out. Probably the main thing that I did recently was I actually Plasti Dipped the windshield here, and it pretty much makes it 100% opaque. And the reason I did that was because an issue that I noticed early on in the bike is that the GPS is sort of in a weird position in that if you tilt it down towards you, which is actually the way this bike came. I mean, it's just a matter of a little bit of an adjustment. But if it's tilted down, it blocks the RPM, right? At least in my riding position with my height. So I kind of wanted to see all the gauges. And so to actually make it visible, what I needed to do was actually tilt this up. And then when you tilt it up, it points basically almost right to the sky, and then you get a lot of glare. And so what I did was basically Plasti Dip the windshield to kind of keep it, keep the glare, kind of mitigate the glare. You can kind of see a little bit that it sort of keeps it sort of like an eyebrow, just keeps a little bit of a shadow on it. But it depends on, of course, which way you're riding, but it does seem to brighten up the GPS screen a little bit, which is actually more than a little bit. It's quite noticeable. So it's just a clearer image. Takes a little getting used to this blacked out windshield. I mean, I don't look through the windshield, and it does, you know, in your sort of peripheral vision, it does create quite a bit of contrast and quite a bit of focus on, well, to me, it sort of emphasizes everything, you know, that you're looking at over the windshield in a way. But it does take a little bit of getting used to, because it is, I mean, it's pretty black. This is a matte black Plasti Dip. Probably about 5 or 6 coats on it. If you know about Plasti Dip, it just will peel off, right? In the process, though, in putting this back on, I did manage to crack the windshield a little bit. This Wunderlich windscreen extension is actually kind of a pain. Because it's really not made for this windshield. This came off an 09 GS windshield, and because there's a crease here, and it's hard to sort of get it centered and you know, the right way and positioned correctly. It took me a good sort of hour to do it. And then you've got a couple bolts here. You know, this is what actually cracked them when I was right, and it's not even, it's on there pretty good. It's not gonna go anywhere, but and then I changed out, because I went to the black windshield. I actually had a tinted extension, so I used this tinted extension. The other thing I'm going to do, I haven't done it yet, but this vinyl is holding up pretty nicely, and I ordered some more vinyl, and I'm just going to peel this off. This is the nice thing about the vinyl, it'll just come off. And I ordered some really dark green. I don't know if how that's going to look, but military green, 3M. And I don't know, give it a little bit of color. Why not? But it looks terrible. Well, just peel it off and then put some more matte black. But I've got, I sort of specced out some colors in Photoshop, and the green looks pretty good. And that mirror blue finish might be kind of interesting. That's a little bit expensive, though. I don't know. Mirror chrome is what it is. Other than that, I did have an issue with the cruise control, and I mentioned this on a forum post in AvWriter. It was weird. I was probably going about, I don't know, 45 miles an hour, put the cruise on. I was definitely at around 3,500 RPM on the revs, and I don't know, it was weird. It would just cut out, or it would cut off, I should say. And I'd set it again, and it would cut off. And I was in a basically a construction zone, and I just wanted to, hold at about 50 miles an hour, 45, 50 miles an hour. And yeah, I'd hit the set button, and then I'd, ride for maybe a minute, and it would cut off. And it was sort of jolting, right? It's a little bit of a wake up, when the cruise control cuts off, especially if you don't have both hands on the handlebars. It hasn't done it since. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that, and I'll get it looked at some point. But especially if it does it again. Now, I don't think a lot of people know this, but maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't know it. But I thought it had something to do with, the throttle. And if you turn the throttle back, fully closed, and then back a little bit, that'll disengage the cruise control. And so I was thinking that maybe it just was, there was some sensitivity there, and it was just cutting off. But then what I did was I just actually took my hand off the throttle with the cruise control on, and it cut off as well. So but when I got it up to higher speeds, 65, 70, put the cruise control on, then it seemed to hold. And I'm pretty certain it had nothing to do with the speed that I was traveling or the gear. I wasn't lugging the engine. I might have been in 4th gear, and I did try it in various gears at different speeds and RPM, and it was definitely, the RPM was definitely high enough. So I don't know. We'll just play it by ear and see what happens. Okay, one last thing is that I mentioned in my last video the service intervals. And so what I did was I ordered this little gem here. I'll open this. Okay, so yeah, for, I don't know, whatever the cost was, $300 or $400, I think. Maybe I'm over guesstimating on that. I think it was like $350 something. Yeah, okay, now I can manage my service intervals. I can set when I want to be when I want the service interval or the service light to indicate. And what I did was I actually just set it for oil changes. So every time the service light or indicator comes on now, I know that it's time for an oil change. I figured that, to take this bike in and get it inspected at the intervals, it's pretty, a lot of those intervals, I'm not 100% off the top of my head what those intervals are, but it always seems like I end up spending $300 or $400 doing those, 6,000, 12,000, those services. The bike has about 8,500 miles on it now. And it was indicating that I needed the 6,000 service, and I just hadn't gone in, and I think I checked, and it was like, a lot of just inspection and stuff like that. But at any rate, this was pretty good. It took me about, I don't know, a little while. Something was going on, and I couldn't get the iPhone to recognize the VIN. I was having an issue with the VIN, and finally everything seemed to click into place. I even posted something to the GS911 product forum, and haven't checked it, but that's because everything started working. And it's kind of cool, I can, with the iPhone, I can, just sort of do a diagnostic, can see what's, all the data with regard to the bike, and I can go in and reset the service intervals how I want. So that's, I went ahead and just bought one of those. Other than that, still not, a big fan of these BMW cases. I had a chance to look at the Touratech version. They're just beefier. I like the locks on the inside. That mechanism is so much nicer, where you open the case, and then you have that basically that locking mechanism inside the case, instead of this bizarre claw here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what holds it on. Sort of this weird thing, and then the key is there, and I mean, it's working, but Touratech is, I think, the better way to go with regard to the panniers on this. So other than that, everything's been working fine. Probably due for some tires. I've still got the Anarchy 3s on. These tires have 4,000 miles on them. Okay, something probably in that neighborhood, maybe a little more, but so far they're doing all right. I've been mostly on well, roads like this. Little bit of dirt roads and some off-roading, but I think the Hide Now K60s, I think they're called the K60s. The Hide Nows are available for this bike now. So when I go for tires, I'll probably end up going for those. I do have a TKC 70 for the rear, probably with about 1,000 miles on it. If anybody wants to buy it off me, drop me a note. And I don't know, I wasn't a fan of that tire, but I may end up putting it back on and just trying it out again. But I'll probably go with the Hide Nows. So that's that, and so far it's been great. Love the bike. Can't imagine why I would trade it or want any other bikes for where I live. So works beautifully. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments there.